Hello, I am just testing this out and checking out to make sure that it is working. We're going to see if we have any viewers. I'm a few minutes early, but just want to double check. So if there's anybody watching already, we will see. And I am excited to be on tonight. I see a couple of viewers, so welcome. I hope you can hear me and see me. Hello, we are excited. We've got about 2 minutes, so welcome. I am excited. I think we've got some viewers coming on. I think that we are live. More viewers coming on, so this is exciting, very exciting. Welcome, welcome. Some more viewers, so welcome, 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 welcome everyone. We've got 1 minute till, so we'll just give it 1 more minute and then we will start live. Welcome. We've got several viewers now. Welcome. We are excited, very excited. As soon as it strikes 8 o'clock, we're going to start live. So welcome. We are excited that you're on tonight. If anyone that is on can text me or give me a quick Voxer text and say, I see you, I can hear you. That would be fabulous. That would be fabulous. Okay, well, it is 8 o'clock and running. So here we go. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome to the Google Hangout tonight. Wow, tonight is the Google Hangout and it's my turn. My name is Krista Warner and I'm a National Sales Director with Mary Kay Cosmetics and I am so excited to get to be your host tonight. We have some amazing DIQs that we are going to recognize. And this Google Hangout is going to be so much about going into DIQ and about for you that are in DIQ. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal experience. I'm going to talk about the fact that we're in May and we have 1 more month. We've got June. And of course, we've got many months, but so many times things end and they finish on June 30th and huge dreams come true. And July 1, we just wake up and just wow with just the accomplishments that we finished. So we're going to talk about all of that great, amazing, fun things tonight. But I just want to say welcome. Welcome into my home. Welcome into my office. My name is Krista Warner, and I am excited to be hosting you tonight. Well, I'm going to start off. I'm going to look over here to my other computer so I can get all of these amazing DIQs and give some of this great recognition. But I just want to applaud each of the DIQs in all of these national areas that are turning in their sheets each Wednesday by 10 a.m. Ladies, you are the ones, I always say, those that show up, go up. And I just applaud you for turning in your numbers. I always say, no matter what your sheet is, just turn it in. You know, we don't do it so we can track it or have one more thing to keep track of. We do it so we can look as an investigative tool. So we appreciate and we applaud you. So I'm going to start off, and I want us to give a big shout out, a big congratulations to Laura Gordon and Lily Gotro as her NSD. She had 15 personal faces this week. Wow, amazing. We also have Tia Sherman in Brittany Capps national area. Tia Sherman had 16 personal faces this week. So great job, Tia. Then we have Trish Caesar in mine, Krista Warner's national area, and she had 11 personal faces this week. So ladies, we know it's about those personal faces. Faces are going to take you places. So we are so excited about that category. The next category is your sales totals from last week. We know that we have huge sales coming out with Kristen Sharp's area, Amy Anderson, $710 in personal sales. Then we have Tia Sherman, again, $652 in sales last week. Serena Vongkon in Kristen Sharp's area, $765 in personal sales. Then we have Amy Anderson. Okay, I think this is on here twice. It says Amy Anderson again, but I think this is on here twice with $710 in personal sales. Now we're going to look at new bookings. I know when I was a brand new consultant, I just could not understand when they would talk about that you were better to leave a skincare class with a minimal amount of sales, with $50 in sales and bookings, than to leave a skincare class with $1,000 in sales and no bookings. But Mary Kay teaches us that bookings is the lifeline of our business. So let's see who had bookings this week. Leah Borland in Lily Gotro's national area with 5 bookings for the week. And then also Tia Sherman in Brittany Capps national area with 5 bookings for the week. Members added this past week. We have Laura Gordon in Lily Gotro's unit with 2 brand new personal unit members. And then we also have Gina Ortega in Lily Gotro's unit with 2 brand new personal unit members. So these DIQs, these girls are leading the way. They are rocking it out. So DIQs, I know we've got a ton of DIQs that are on this Google Hangout tonight, and they have not filled out their sheet. And so I want to encourage you, because some of you are saying right now, man, I wish I would have filled out my sheet. I had sales that high. I had that many bookings. So ladies, we want to celebrate you each and every week. So we just want to congratulate once again for these amazing DIQs that are just doing amazing, outstanding. They are leading by example. Well, the next thing that I want to take you through is a little bit about me. Some of you may know me and a lot of you may not. I have been with Mary Kay for the past 15 years. I'm just going to check my phone real quick just to see if anybody texted me or said anything, to just know if this is recording or we have someone live. But I think we do have some live viewers, so I'm just going to go with it and roll with it. But as I said earlier, my name is Krista Warner. I've been with Mary Kay for 15 years. And I want to tell you, formerly I taught kindergarten and did that for 10 years, and just loved what I did. I live in a very small town, a town of about 2,000 people. So back when I started Mary Kay, we had a Sonic and a stoplight, and now we have 2 stoplights and a dollar store. So I mean, a really large town. So I'm saying that totally sarcastic. But the thing of it was that, in my small town, you did one of 2 things when you graduated high school. You either went to college and you got a job in whatever that field was, or you went straight out of high school and you went into whatever work field, and that's just where you were at. And so when I went off to college and I decided to get a teaching degree, I got a job in that field. I had a kindergarten job, and I absolutely loved that. I never thought of doing anything any different. And so that's how Mary Kay found me, as a school teacher. When I started, I was all about just looking for a little bit of extra income. I never dreamed of leaving my full-time teaching income or my full-time teaching job. I loved what I was doing, but I want to share with you how quick I moved and how quickly my mind changed. So sometimes we want to just open our minds. We want to think about some new possibilities. So when I came in, to just give you a little glimpse of me, I did not own a dress. My hair was all one length down my back. I always wore makeup because I didn't have good skin, but I never wore eyeshadow. And so I was looking for one thing, absolutely one thing. And it was nothing but a little bit of extra income. That was it. I was not going to hold a party. I was not going to go to any kind of amazing meeting that was so positive. I told him I had all the positive I needed in my life. But I want you to know that I quickly saw the turnaround the first time that someone put some cash in my hand. So ladies, we know that when we're selling this product, we sell it, we buy it for $1, we sell it for $2, and we're making 50% profit. And it didn't take me long to figure out, wow, what if I did this a little bit every day? What if I did this a little bit every week? What could that residual income look like? So that's what got me started in Mary Kay. I want you to know that 6 months, I became a sales director with Mary Kay, and I earned my first free car. And wow, things went fast. I was so excited. I was so amazed. And things just moved right along. So for some of you that are in DIQ, I want to just clarify for you that if any of you are kind of like, what am I doing? Why am I here? Why am I supposed to be here? We just have to trust the process. And that's where I was at. You know, girls, I was just sharing what I knew. And what I knew was how Mary Kay was changing me. It was changing me emotionally. It was changing me financially. And anytime that I opened my mouth, I was sharing that opportunity. And so each time that I opened that, of course, what happened? People wanted to come along with me. So quickly, I was just building that team right and left, right and left. And the next thing I know, I landed myself into DIQ. I didn't really understand what DIQ meant. Back then they just said, do it quick, but I went to seminar. I went to seminar. That's what I want you to hear me say. I went to seminar as a brand new DIQ. I want to tell you a little funny about me, okay? I was the kind of girl that I've always been a girlfriend's kind of girl. So I can tell you, if you're my friend, you will always know that I've got your back and that I'm there with you. So for some of you that would know, I actually earned arena seating, but back in the day, they had what they called Hall A. And I actually sat over in Hall A because that's where all my girlfriends that I rode with, that's where I sat with them. Even though I had floor arena seating with my director, I was staying with my girlfriends. But the thing of it is, it didn't take me long to figure out that I saw all of these women of all ages, of all sizes, of all background, of all education, and receiving these diamond rings, picking up these keys to these cars, becoming sales directors. And I thought, wow, this is for me. I wasn't really sure. I didn't know if I fit exactly in the mold of my senior sales director. I didn't know if I could actually be her. But when I went to seminar, I saw such a larger picture, and I knew that DIQ could be for me. I knew that I could make a difference in my life and that I could make a difference in other women's lives. So I want you to trust the process. If you're in DIQ or you're thinking about going into DIQ, I want you to trust the process. I want you to make it not so much about you, but about whose lives that you could possibly change. That's what I want you to be thinking about. Well, ladies, that's what started me off. 6 months, brand new, sales director and car. I thought, wow, here we go. 1 year from the day I earned my first Cadillac. My very first year as a sales director, we did $700,000 unit club, and we did 7 first-line sales directors. Oh my goodness, we were on a roll. I thought, wow, I mean, this Mary Kay thing, I'm going to be a national sales director. How quick, how fast is that? Well, I thought that, my very first year, and it took me 13 years. So, you just never know. You've got to trust the process. But this is what I want to hear me say when I tell you about this. There are 3 things, ladies, that I feel can hold you back in this business, really in anything in life. And those 3 things are what I call the 3 M's. That is money, a man, and medical. Now I'm going to share with you a little bit, and not at all to share with you for you to say, wow, gosh, look at her. But I want you to see that we make the decision of where we end up in life. I love when Linda Tupin would say, we are where we are by the choices we've made. Those are words that I have said over and over to myself throughout the years, throughout the times. I have made some decisions that I've not been so proud of, but then I've also made the decision to get back up one more time and to persevere and to overcome. So I want you to know that quickly I had success in Mary Kay. And my sales director was so smart because she always said, Krista, I want you to know that there's going to be uphill and mountaintop experiences, and then there's going to be some valley experiences. And I thought, wow, I don't know if I really wanted to know there would ever be any valley experiences. But she always said, if you ever think about quitting, the only way to fail at this business is to quit. And I want you to tell me that if you ever think about quitting, you'll pull yourself back up one last time to that mountaintop experience. And then if you choose to quit, I'll never say a word 15 years later, because every time that ever crossed my mind, I pulled myself back up one more time. So the first instance that I ever had was one day I received a phone call, and here I was in what I felt was just at the brink of finishing my national area. And we had things in place. We had our first line in place. We had our second line in place. And the company was working with us. They had just been in to do a huge retreat, and I received a phone call. And the marriage that I knew was not the marriage that I knew, okay? So all I'm going to say in detail is just that there was more people involved than the two of us. In that situation, suddenly, I went from a very powerful woman and a very passionate woman to a very pitiful woman. And when I say that because I have learned not to judge before we have walked in someone else's shoes. So quickly, I went into a situation that I was unaware of, that I was not comfortable with. And I stepped out and I stepped away from my Mary Kay very quickly. I became very emotional. I became very involved. Everything about my life that as I knew it was suddenly not my life. But this is what I want you to hear me say, girls. For 8 months, I didn't touch my Mary Kay. For 8 months. I'm talking not a phone call, not an email, nothing. And my check was never under $5,000 a month. It's what kept me in my home. It's what took care of my children. When I was pitiful in figuring out how to become powerful again, Mary Kay was my plan B when I didn't know that I needed a plan B. Mary Kay was my plan B. Life happened, and suddenly I became powerful again. And I pulled myself back around, and I started feeling again, and I started loving again. And I fell in love with a wonderful man that so many of you know that I'm married to today, Bill Warner. And 5 days later, after we married, I suffered a stroke, and it took the use of my right leg. And so then, you know, I had what I always say, I had drama, and then I had trauma. But the thing of it was that suddenly I was very powerful. I had listened to women in Mary Kay overcome mind over matter. I knew that I would make that leg walk again. I knew that I had to take control of myself. So ladies, I want you to know that no matter what your situation is, and during all of that divorce, things got really heated, and I lost all of the assets that I had, everything that I had with Mary Kay, and I started back over with my 2 children in a rent house. So I want you to know that no matter where you're at, that there is hope for tomorrow. That's what I want you to hear me say. There is hope for tomorrow. So I want to tell you that out of all of that, I had an issue where a man was holding me back. I had an issue where money and I felt hopeless. I had an issue where medical and I thought, how can I take another step? But ladies, we have to take the step, and our first step is in our mind, and it is in perseverance. I want to tell you that they did an applause article with myself, my senior sales director, and my offspring sales director, Angela LaFerry. And on that day, the company called me and they asked me how I felt about being a national sales director. When they asked me about that, I had to make the personal decision to believe in myself one more time. Was I willing to persevere? Was I willing to stand back up? And was I willing to go for it? And exactly 3 years later, in 2014, we debuted as a brand new national area. So ladies, I want you to know that sometimes when you look at top sales directors, sometimes when you look at national sales directors, you just think, gosh, you know, if I lived in the city that they lived in, if I was single, if I didn't have children, if I had a supportive husband, all of those different things, sometimes we have to realize that those are stories that we're telling ourselves. So what I want you to do today is I want you to think about what has brought you where you're at today. Why are you here today? You know, just this past November, I was sitting at a national event, and I heard Kathy Halou say the word grit. And when she said that, wow, it was just like a light bulb went on. I thought, that is exactly why I'm here. Grit it continued to push me forward. Even when I didn't feel like it, even when I decided to set out, grit was always what came back and brought me back around. I immediately made an acronym for my area for grit. G was for gratitude. Along this journey, I have learned to have gratitude for each step that I take, for each part of the perseverance that I've learned, for everything. It is gratitude. We have to learn to have gratitude, find something to be thankful for each and every day of our lives. R is for resilience. Ladies, this business is about resilience. We are not the weak. We are the strong. We are women. We can do more than anyone else on this planet, and it is about digging down deep. I is for integrity. My national sales director, Angie Day, taught me years ago about what it was being word. And ladies, if you do not have your word, you don't have anything. So I want you to think about the integrity that you're carrying as you're carrying on this legacy with a DIQ, with submission for DIQ, and going into directorship and carrying the legacy of Mary Kay. T is for tenacity. Ladies, oh my goodness. T is for tenacity. So what I want you to think about is, what does it take? Can I teach you grit? Do you have it? Where do you get it? And where do you find it? What I want you to really think about is, yesterday someone said to me, in life, I think I've just been taught that you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Well, that just made me smile on the inside, because I thought, as a kindergarten teacher for 10 years, I can promise you that I've said those words before. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Well, guess what, ladies? We're not in kindergarten anymore. We do not have to have the box milk. We do not have to have the cafeteria lunches. We do not have to live in the box that someone gave us. What is the life that we get to choose? Some of us are feeling, a lot of us are feeling, we get what we get and we don't throw a fit. Maybe life hasn't been good to us. Maybe our finances haven't been good. Maybe our health hasn't been good. Maybe someone did us wrong. But the thing of it is, we can choose. Do we get what we get and we don't throw a fit and we live in that box? Or we stand up today and say, wow, I am here by the choices I've made, and I'm going to make a new choice today. And how many other women can I affect when I make this positive choice today? That's what I want you to think about. That's what I want you to think about, is we are no longer in kindergarten. We are strong women, that we get to make the decision of when and where and what we do. Ladies, we are by the choices we've made. Well, the next thing that I want to share with you a little bit is, here we are wrapping up the month of May and wrapping up the month of June. Well, I want to tell you just a little personal story about that first year, the first full year. So I became a sales director in October. And so, of course, that seminar year, I was just a sales director, however many months that'd be, 7 or 8 months. And so then the next year, my first full year as a sales director, that's when we did 7 first line, 700,000. Well, I want to tell you that it was in May, probably about this time, the end of May. And, May gets busy. We have graduations going on, end of the year school programs, track meets, just, getting ready for vacation, college, everything's going on in the month of May. So sometimes in the month of May, we can just feel that I hate to even say out of my mouth, but sometimes we can tell ourselves that we feel a little overwhelmed, that we feel like, wow, I don't know, it's May, I just don't know. So this is what I want to tell you. This exact desk, you can't see this desk, but this exact desk that I'm sitting at was the same desk that was sitting in my office in another home. And I was sitting there in the month of May. And I let that feeling, that nasty negative view, overcome me. And I started thinking to myself, Krista, this is your first year. I mean, you could just do $500,000 and it would be okay. So I want you to hear my points on this. Some of you are thinking, what is $500,000? What is 700,000? But I want you to get the lesson that I'm talking about. I started telling myself in my mind, No one would expect you to do the trip your first year. No one would expect you to do all this. Maybe you should just back it up a little bit, girl. Maybe you should just slow down the process. Maybe you shouldn't push so hard. So, while I sat there at that desk, I thought, I think I'll just take a break for just a minute. Maybe some of you have thought about that at a time like this. Maybe I should just take a break for just a minute. So when that time came, I thought, I'm just going to lay down for just a short minute. It was during the day, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I remember well. So I laid down, and someone came in my home, and they caught me. They caught me laying down, and it embarrassed me. And they said, Krista, it is no time to lay down. It is time to put your running shoes and go for it. You have no time to lay down. Well, it aggravated me. I became defensive. They didn't know what I was going through. They didn't know what I was thinking. They didn't know all the things that I was balancing. So what else would I do except to pray? Ask God to give me a sign. So that night, as I laid down, I thought, God, dear Lord, please give me a sign. And I'm the kind of girl, I sometimes need a big sign. I need a big, wide open, big old sign. So I said, could you give me some type of sign? Some type of sign. So next to my bed was this journal right here. And it was a daily devotional journal. And I felt the need to open it. And I thought, do I go to today? Where do I go to? And it suddenly came June 30th. That's what I'm trying to make the decision. Where do I want to be June 30th? Do I want to push, or do I just want to be passive? Where do I want to be June 30th? And ladies, I opened up this God's little devotional journal for women. And on June 30th, I don't want you to think I'm storying to you. I want you to see the date right here. I want you to see the words. It read to me. So in 2003, in May 2003, it said, traits of a champion. Be strong and have good courage and do it. Do not fear nor be dismayed, for the Lord God will be with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you. 1 Chronicles 28:20. It says sports psychologists have identified 6 traits that are common among gold medal athletes. These traits of a champion apply to both men and women and are also dominant factors in the lives of those who succeed in non-athletic vocations. Number 1 was self-analysis. I had to decide. I had to look at myself. Number 2 was self-competition. Was I in competition with myself? Was I willing to push myself further? Or was I looking to the left or looking to the right? Or did I have my blinders on? Number 3, focus. Ladies, I was not focused that day. Number 4, confidence. Confidence. Ladies, confidence. We have to have confidence. Number 5, toughness. There comes that grit. Was I willing to get tough? My girls, sometimes I'll say, girls, get tough. We gotta get tough to do this business. Number 6, a game plan. Did I have a game plan, or was I just running down the road trying to run this race and win? It says you don't have to be an Olympic athlete to develop these skills. They can be beneficial in every area of your life. Whether it's on the job, in the home, or at the gym, these traits can build excellence into your everyday life. All of our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Well, ladies, that was my answer right there. God gave me that big old sign. I wasn't over. The race was not over. We were in the middle of May, and I was contemplating backing up. And then like a light bulb moment, just days after that, a sales director that I just looked up to and respected had a phone call with me. And they said, how's it going? And I said, oh my gosh, I'm just juking and jiving and just rocking and rolling. And they said, I just can't wait for July 1. Those words were so magical to me because what I heard was where I had been. They were making the decision that they weren't happy where they were. So they were just ready to start a new year. They were just ready to start a new month. They were just ready to drop the ball and to start over. They weren't even looking at finishing the race that they were in. Ladies, I dug down deep. I pulled that grit out. And I persevered. And I can tell you, when midnight hit on June 30th, 2003, I had no idea if I was at $699.99 or if I was at $700,000. And I think our final was $718,000. But the bottom line is, I was working for other women. I was working to finish those directors. We were working as a group to collectively reach a goal that was suiting all of us, not just one of us. Ladies, this is a goal-driven business. And I encourage you today, I encourage you with everything that you have to dig down deep, to get a little bit of grit, to get a little bit of swagger. Our area always says that we represent with a little bit of Wild West swagger. And our verse is Ecclesiastes 9:7. Go eat your food with gladness and drink your wine with a joyful heart, for it is now, girls, that God favors what you do. I hope that today you choose that it is now your time, whether you're in DIQ or going into DIQ. Don't wait till July 1. Finish what you've started. Finish where your dream is. And ladies, know that now is your time. I can't wait to see all of your wins all across social media. I can't wait to hear all of the just cheers and the roars. I know that you can do it. Love and believe. Bye-bye.